We're going to be looking at some very new items today and some forward-looking items on our product roadmap. So before we do that, we need to review Salesforce's Safe Harbor slide. If you are unfamiliar with this slide, all it asks of us is that since we're going to be looking at our product roadmap, we need to base any Salesforce purchasing decisions based only on current functionality.
Hi folks, my name is Gautam Vasudev and I'm the product manager for Salesforce CTI, which is Computer Telephony Integration, and the Salesforce console. Today I'm going to be talking about all the goodness that's come out with Winter 16 for the console and the case feed. The first item that I'm going to walk you through is the new look for the Salesforce console, and this is something we've put a lot of effort into, and I feel we've got to that industry-leading UI space which we've always had as part of our charter. I'm also going to speak about some branding enhancements and a brand new look and feel, a modernized look and feel for our pin list view. And if you're familiar with our previous pin list view, I'm sure you agree that this was sorely needed. I'm also going to walk through a very exciting capability with case feed, which a number of customers have been asking us for, which is inline filters in feeds, from which you can directly narrow the feed items down to 1 or 2 items. In addition, I'm going to show you a new lookup component which allows you to create and search for related objects in line from a sidebar component. And then I'm also going to show you a new drag and drop ability with files. I wanted to first show you our new console look and feel. Now, as you can see here, there's a lot that's changed around the console. And none of it is with the functionality, but I'm hoping you can all see how the console now has a very consistent font and icon and style guide across all the console componentry. This was feedback that we received from a number of customers in the past. And the first thing that we wanted to do, as I said, was get that consistency of styling. Now, we also wanted this to be forward-looking, so we've borrowed the best of the Lightning design system and use that to make sure that every font across the console, every icon, and every bit of styling looks consistent. Now, you might not know this, but in the previous iteration of the console, we had over 20 fonts styles, and we had multiple shades of gray in the console. Not 50, but quite a few. The other thing you might notice is that now there is a subtle gray background to the sidebar components, and this is really to draw the attention of the agent to the focused area or the case area or the record area where they're actually going to resolve the customer's issue. The component coloring is really to help drive that information hierarchy so that the user knows that the record or the feed is where they're going to spend most of their time. Additionally, we've made sure that all of the components in the console have a consistent look and feel. So you'll see they all start with the case title and an action to the right, and then the content following. And this is a pattern that we're going to repeat throughout. Now, in addition to all of this, we also focused on improving the branding capability in the console. So here are 2 other examples that I'm going to walk through. Here's a console. If you're familiar with the Salesforce Service Cloud colors, we have this rich plum color, and I've branded the console to reflect that. And here's another console. AgentX just happens to be the internal name of our team, the console team, and we branded the console with the AgentX logo. But you might have noticed that we've also been able to brand the primary tab column here in all of these. So you can get that additional level of brandability, which wasn't available before. Previously, you could brand the header and the footer. Now you can brand this primary tab bar as well. And keep in mind that this branding is intelligent. So if you brand a dark color, the fonts and the icons automatically change to a light color so that your agent always has contrast. You can see here that against this darker purple background, the font coloring is white, whereas here against the lighter blue background, the font coloring is dark. Now, as I switch to the Agent Experience console, you might have noticed our new list view. And this is a very focused effort on our part to make sure that as users and agents were working through multiple items, they could actually use this space effectively. Previously, we actually showed the entire pin list in this space, and there was a lot of scrolling involved. But in this responsive view, based on the amount of real estate that an agent might have, they will see more or less information. Now, of course, agents have to go back and forth between this full width view and the list and the pin state as well. So to accommodate that, we actually have introduced a new keyboard shortcut, which is the Zoom keyboard shortcut. And in just a few keyboard clicks, you can go to that full screen view or zoom back out again so that you have that pin state. So as an agent, I can see not just the work items that I have coming up, but also very quickly switch to getting an overview in a much greater detail. You'll also see that some of the actions that were traditionally available in a full width pin list, in a full width list view, are now hidden behind hovers in a pin state. So the edit and delete icons are of course still available to you, but they're behind a hover. Also, we still have the ability to have mass actions in this state. And in an upcoming release, one of the things that we are very keen on making sure happens is that as you go over any of these items in a pin state, we present users with a hover so that any information that is not shown here or any columns that might not be shown in this pin state are available through that hover. Now, I walked you through some of the changes with the console, but I wanted to show you some of the exciting changes with the case feed as well. You can see here that I have a very busy case feed, and there's a lot that's happened on this case. But now I have the ability to very quickly filter down to any feed item types that I want. So I could have had a feed item type to say, show me all external customer-facing communication. In this example that I'm showing you here today, internal is a feed that I have made or configured that shows work item types and internal case comments. And you can see these are two separate item types, case feed item types, and I've filtered them into one label. Now, this wasn't available before, but you can quickly see how powerful this functionality can become, because an agent might be going through a large case feed, but can very quickly identify or narrow down those updates to the case being external updates or internal updates or just some particular work item type. But wait, there's more. You can see here also that we have lookup components, continuing, of course, from our previous releases, but there's a new type of lookup component available to you. In this particular case, I have Katie Miller as a contact, but if I didn't, I could very easily go ahead and associate a contact without even leaving the case screen. So with this very handy unlink option, you can see here I have disassociated Katie Miller from the case. If I go ahead and do this search, I can actually bring up Katie Miller's record and add it directly from within the case view without having to leave that context. Now, previously, you would actually have had to do that. Additionally, if Katie was not a contact that was in the system yet, I could have gone ahead and created a new contact record directly from within the case context. And keep in mind, folks, that this creation form is different from the update form that I showed you previously. What that means is that you can have a different layout for updating a contact or creating a contact. And just to reiterate that, you can see that once I associate Katie again and I inline edit, I only see fields that I need for that edit operation. But when creating a contact, I might have needed more fields. So lots of flexibility with the system. And also, remember that this is not just for contacts. These lookup components are available for any parent record associated with an object. So in our case, we're showing you a contact associated with a case, but this could very well be an asset or an account or any other custom object type. Finally, we have also addressed one nagging frustration for a few of our customers out there, and they have shared with us that they would have loved to see drag and drop from the files component. And I know previously we had given you the ability to drag and drop from the desktop directly into the email publisher, but we hadn't given you the ability to drag and drop from the files component into the publisher, and that's coming your way with Winter 16. And in addition to that, this files component is now no longer going to show you duplicate files names. So if you have a customer who has an image in their attachment, you will not see multiple copies of that attachment. You will see one copy. And the logic for this matching to make sure that we are always catching the signature is that the file name, the file size, and the file type need to be the same. So we walked through the redesigned console experience as well as the enhanced branding capabilities. I'm hoping all of you are excited to try out the new look and feel of the console and share your feedback with us. In addition, we've enhanced the list view, providing a pinned or responsive experience, but also provided you a zoom keyboard shortcut, so you could very quickly go back to that full width view if you needed. In Spring, we're going to work on work-based pin list, and I'm going to show you an example of this. You can see here that this case pin list actually looks quite beautiful. But if I switch dashboards, I have to zoom in to effectively use this experience. Well, in Spring, we're going to give you the ability to choose how each one of these work items display. So you can say cases need to display with the pin list, but dashboards must always display full screen. We're also going to introduce tab governors. We have a lot of customers who have agents that are opening multiple records in the console, and that's something certainly that we encourage. But we've received feedback from admins that they would like their agents to have work items maybe at 1 or 2 work items at one time. So we're going to give admins that ability to configure how many tabs can be opened. But also, we're going to give admins the ability to control how many tabs an agent is allowed to open at an upper limit, whether it be 20 tabs at the primary tab level or 30, and 10 or 15 tabs at the sub-tab level. So this power allows an admin to really configure how much work the agent can take on. We're also introducing a very exciting new functionality called templates. This was something that we spoke about at Dreamforce, and we got very positive feedback on it. Templates is your ability to set up Service Cloud features in a single click. Now, you might have looked at my demo and said, wow, that looks really interesting. I would love to experience that in my own sandbox. Well, that's exactly what templates is built for. You can use your own sandbox environment and deploy a template to get a console, like the console I showed. You might have a template to deploy Live Agent and Knowledge, so that all of this is happening in your sandbox with your data, which gives you a really good way to evaluate whether this feature is the right one for you. And finally, we are also going to introduce the ability to have Lightning sidebar components in the console. Now, there's a lot of good stuff coming out from the Lightning experience, and we want to bring some of that richness to the console as well. On the case feed side, we walk through the new feed filters, and I would encourage all of you to definitely take advantage of this feature. We introduced the quick action lookup components where you can search and you can create records directly in line from the case experience, and also the ability to drag and drop file attachments into the email publisher. Now, what's coming up in Spring is a REST API for web to case, which will give you a lot more flexibility. And with macros, 2 key enhancements which are going to make macros really powerful beyond what they can do today significantly. First, macros are going to have the ability to fill in some of those quick action components that I just showed you. So you could quick create a contact if you, maybe not the whole contact, but you could certainly fill in certain fields if you already know the type of contact. You can also have merge fields for macros. Now, this has been a big ask because today macros could insert static text into an email, for example, but you might want to say, hi, dear customer, where you want the customer's name. And finally, there are going to be more enhancements to the case object in the Lightning experience.
What is the key difference between Lightning Desktop, the Lightning experience, and the Lightning console?
Right, and that's a great question. The Lightning experience is a new look at the whole of Salesforce, particularly Salesforce Classic, and that covers a lot of the use cases that you might traditionally be used to in the standard Salesforce app. The console was really designed and built for high productivity use cases where customized workflows were needed or optimized workflows were needed. So the Lightning experience is really the new look of Salesforce in general. And the Salesforce console continues to serve those use cases which Salesforce Classic didn't address in detail. Now, keep in mind, though, that the future is going to provide a unified vision of all of Salesforce. So you will see more and more that a lot of the console capabilities are seamlessly migrated to the Lightning experience, and our customers get to enjoy the best of both worlds in one experience.
So what is that keyboard shortcut for the zooming? Is there a specific key?
Oh, yes. It's Z. You can always change it.
Makes sense.
But keep in mind, you should definitely first select the pin list. You can zoom into different areas in the console. So if we switch back to the demo, you can see here I have the ability to zoom into the primary tab section as well. And that's been around for some time. But this ability to zoom is really for allowing users to focus on particular areas of the application. And we received a lot of positive feedback on it. So to all customers out there, you might not use all of the keyboard shortcuts available in the console, but I would certainly encourage you to use the ones that make sense for your users.
And Chris, that was a question from Chris, and he's also asking, how do you decide which fields go into the sidebar?
Well, with the lookup components, you can either leverage the mini page layout, which was a capability that existed before. And with Windows 16, now that we've introduced the quick action lookup components, the one that I showed you just now, you can have a quick action that describes what that layout is. And you can control that just like you would a normal page layout. There's a drag and drop editor, and you can drag and drop the fields that you need. Definitely go to your sandboxes and try it out.